Hi, and welcome to the Skeptical Leftist Podcast, the show where I talk to a variety of people to spread critical thinking, progressive politics, and left-wing philosophy. And today I'm joined by my good friend, Damien Marie AtHope. And
Hey.
Today we're talking prehistory, I guess, and how it relates to other topics, and maybe
then one of our things that I try to focus or help with you to focus on is, in a sense, not just a history show. So even though I'm very knowledgeable in a sense in prehistory, I don't try to present. There's tons of shows that have all kinds of more views than me because I add politics. I guarantee you, if we cut all the politics out and and we're also broke up probably to 10-minute little segments. I like to do like 3-hour actually explain the shit in video. Well, because if I do just 10 minutes, all the stuff I explain. Could I possibly explain all that in 10 minutes and you actually grasp it?
Probably not. No.
Yeah, no.
There's too much context.
No.
There's too much context. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Because the things I say are so revolutionary to people's understanding of pretty much everything. DNA, I explain it in ways that people even that do DNA. In fact, there's I only have 188 views on academia, but I have 78 downloads on how I explain DNA. Because the DNA people look at that and went, what the fuck? Yeah, because I explain, right? And my point is, same with the Graham Hancock. And they do the same thing to Graham Hancock. They look at his shit and they go, what the fuck? But not for the same reason. They say what the fuck for his shit because what the fuck are you thinking?
Right.
This doesn't even make sense. And then my shit, they go, what the fuck? You just taught us shit we had no idea about.
Right. Yeah.
But that to me is what I do, though, also. And so that was in DNA. Also do that in languages. Blown away with how I explain language. Blown away with how I explain, religion. Blown away with how I explain the mythology. Blown away how I explain the archaeology, even how I show all the things in context. But
yeah,
go ahead.
You tend to take. I was just going to say, you tend to take a big picture kind of view of things and try and connect things with DNA and language and artifacts and religion and politics.
Yeah, and politics. Yes, exactly. So that's the other thing I was going to say right at the beginning. If we just focused on, say, mythology, which we could do a whole show on just that. I'm good. I know stuff. It's amazing. We could have just shown that.
Yeah.
We could have just shown archaeology or whatever. But we could actually even just have a political show because I'm extremely political. Some people are like, oh, well, I'm mildly political. I'm mildly political like a fucking, Molotov cocktail.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, people who don't follow you on your channel might not realize this, but me and Damien, we work together on his channel, and we explain his blogs and discuss prehistory a lot, and we're always tying politics into it.
Right. Well, and I, like I told you before, the one thing I learned actually by learning more about prehistory was, holy shit, our struggle has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it also made me hopeful. Our struggle did start sometime, and it wasn't all of history.
Right.
I mean, that alone was like kind of inspiring. Like, oh, thank goodness, it's only 7,000 years. It's not 200,000, which humans at least are, if not 350, maybe, or 300. So we've had a long time. Capitalism, or this new oppression of hierarchy, is fucking new.
Right.
That is inspiring to me. And so, like I was saying, it wasn't that I tried to force. That's how other people think. They go, well, Damien, I just teach, because, they think they're superior to me somehow. I just teach history. I'm like, right. If you actually taught history, you would teach anarchism and socialism and capitalism, because fucking that is part of actual fucking history. No, what you do is you try to whitewash and limit. It's like looking through a kind of glasses with a strainer. They demand you see nothing but just the history, devoid of the actual human struggle.
Right. Yeah, it's similar in a sense to the view of like journalism as objective.
Right.
Like, you can't have history without context and the people that it affected, and you can't have journalism without context and the people that it affects.
Right, and also people should know, I don't, as you know, I don't start in a sense, even though I'm a socialist and anarchist, I did not come to anarchism because I read some stuff. In fact, I didn't even know I was an anarchist until Corey said, your ideas kind of sound like anarchism. And I was like, what is that? And I went and looked it up and went, fuck yeah, I'm an anarchist.
Sounds
okay,
good to me.
There's a word.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess,
then I was going to say, and then for me, socialists also, I didn't read anything. I actually have never read Marx, and I've never read the Communist Manifesto. I do things because I'm an axiologist, which is a value theorist. And value in my context has to do with every single thing you can practically think of. If you value a truth or lies, the why one is different than the other is value more than just other stuff. Anyways, so in fact, what truth is a value judgment we place on what we think is accurate, is complete, which has some demonstrable evidence or justifiable reason. So that is then worthy of the label that we put on something, and we call it truth.
Right.
Just like I said before, axiology understands even the fact of evidence. Evidence is not a thing you find. It's a conclusion you reach that something relates to something else in some unique way worthy to be called evidence. Just like moral behavior. An axiologist is you can't even do morals in a sense without almost banging into axiology all over the place, because it is a value judgment. You look at, when you say something is good or not good, these are value judgments. And so you have to have, just like to me, in a sense, axiology in a scientific way, you have to take the idea and look at it as critically as you would something in science. So is something good? This is not an opinion like, do you like anchovies on pizza? Do you torture children? Is it ever okay? This is going to currently in Palestine or even Israel.
Yeah.
What happened? Is it ever okay, Corey, to kill babies or young children or the fucking vulnerable and think that that's not an act of terrorism?
Yeah, obviously not, right? Like
right? You get what I'm trying to say. So axiological, and that's how axiology does. It looks at the things, and it also has a thing called value realism, in a sense that it does believe that there's a real world. And I explained before how it gets to that conclusion. It doesn't, nothing in axiology is a given. It's a demonstrated. It's a methodological approach to break down thinking and understand concepts like the matrix. You look around, also there's numbers everywhere. Well, in axiology, those numbers would be the values.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you that someone did something wrong, you think, oh, that's bad. If I tell you that someone did something wrong to a child, oh, the value just changed. If I tell you it's a child who was vulnerable, ooh, it's worse. He's disabled, worse. It was his mother, worse. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Every time that you start to, and the mother is a doctor, even worse. Do you know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm trying to show you, I could go on and on, but I'm just saying axiology, that is how, so I'm saying to people, that is really how I break all my morality. Why anarchism to me is ethical as hell. I don't even understand how anyone could ever feel bad being an anarchist. I literally believe in people's own self-rights and demand that they, not just me, be respected. I mean, I feel like it's an absolute ethical position, but that's how just, in other words, instead of people always tie things in a sense to economics, and I always go, who gives a fuck if capitalism made the most money? If it means that we have to let kids starve in the fucking streets.
Yeah.
I'm fucking done. It's no good. Throw it out. Fuck that shit. Start again. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, because axiology, I don't even have to have this humongous thing. It's fucking bullshit. If you tell me, no matter what you think your politics are, that children shouldn't have a right to eat, fuck you. Fuck you. I don't even want to hear any bullshit. I don't care what country, what thing. I don't care what their parents are fucking terrorists. Literally serial killers.
Yeah.
Serial killer's child should be protected. What the fuck? Because if you don't grasp that a child is innocent and should be protected, doesn't matter. No, like somehow gained, responsibility from their parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because the Bible does that though. The Bible says you'll be punished until it was a
Right.
fourth generation or something. I mean,
Yeah.
see, as axiology, you should stop and go, that book is unethical.
That's nonsense.
That's unethical. You don't even, as I was saying too, is how I look at history. I try to look at it as I know nothing, let the evidence talk to me. Truth is my seductress. It's not something I think I already have. It's something I am gaining. I want. I desire.
That sounds good to me. I don't know. Yeah, like I was trying to think too. Like, where is like say? I mean, that's we're going to be talking about prehistory and kurgans and mounds and stuff and how that relates to hierarchy and whatever. But I wanted to kind of explore this a little bit since we started with it. How does axiology relate to things like virtue ethics or utilitarianism?
Well, those are once again, axiology is like Marx. I don't start with Marx. Wouldn't you agree? I don't start with Marx. I start with something axiology. Axiology does not start with virtue ethics. It doesn't start with utilitarian ethics. It's more like consequentialist ethics. Like it understands that not just what happens to now at the immediate, but a consequence of later also has to be thought out before making moral decisions. You can't just go, well, I'm good now. Now I feel like it's the right thing. You should always think, well, what if I'm wrong? And later I find out and it's the most worst thing. And now, anyway,
I think utilitarians would consider their philosophy a kind of consequentialist philosophy.
But the problem is they say it's always the most good. To me, the most good may just be the one retarded child that someone else is abusing and thinks doesn't deserve to live. And axiologists, just to explain a little bit, think of axiologists, throw those, you got to throw those whole like mods of thinking out. Axiology does not see the world like that. Axiology sees the world in value. So it starts with that. How should we have ethics? How should we, right? Well, they certainly should be rational, right? So we start with there should be a true, in a sense, the rational universal ethic. True, right?
Okay.
The rational universal ethic. So, right? So it has to be true. Yeah. And so it has to be that rational universal ethic. In other words, it has to be universal. If you say it is okay to have human rights because of abortion, right? You say this, which a lot of people say that are liberal, right? And then as soon as they say that, I say, I totally agree as an anarchist. Mm-hmm. The problem is when I mention other things like, well, they actually have the right to do drugs. And they say, no, they don't. And I say, yes, they do. They own themselves.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, well, they don't have a right to have prostitution. And I go, didn't you say they own themselves? They can get an abortion if they want?
Right, it's their body, right?
Well, it's their body, right? You said their body, their choice. Well, there is no moral difference, axiology, between, then there also should be the right to die. Their body, their choice.
Yeah.
And they go, well, what do you feel about people cutting off limbs? Their body, their choice.
I don't think there's actually like a break there, right? Because you can say it's their body, their choice. They can make those choices. They have the right to make those choices. I can also think that that's an unwise choice.
Oh, and not only that, you may have a moral obligation to tell your opinion of why whatever makes it that way.
Yeah.
What you can't do, to me, if somebody owns themselves, is abuse them because of it or to remove their right to do it. I feel both of those are absolutely wrong. They go, well, it will bother people. Yeah, life fucking will bother people, but people will still have fucking rights.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, this goes important to, because then people always say I judge the reason I bring this up about morality. I judge the past as I would judge today. I do not buy this bullshit. Somehow we can give them a pass. Because let me tell you something. If you ever stub your toe, hurts like fuck. You know hitting someone else in the toe hurts like fuck. Don't give me this fucking bullshit. They didn't know, Damien, it was okay. No, it was never fucking okay. Fuck you. And your pseudo fucking morality. Never okay.
It seems pretty obvious that like slavery in ancient Egypt wasn't ideal for the slave, right?
No.
And it would have been obvious. There would have been people around that knew that it wasn't ideal for the slave. So
yeah, including the slave.
Yeah,
because guess what? In our world, the anarchist world, at least certainly in my world, I know it's yours too, but in my world, I'll speak for myself. In my world, every person is equal.
Yeah.
There is no hierarchy. Every person has fucking value. Just like someone before said, Damien, you might have more value than someone else because you're so intelligent. And I said, every life is equal. It is of value. If someone being intelligent was so great, why am I not more famous? Look at the fucking fools like Elon Musk that people think are intelligent and literally demonstrates, I don't know, every fucking second that he opens his fucking mouth or does a behavior that he literally isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Or like just the general spread of misinformation. Like people who are doing that, it doesn't matter if they're smart or good or not. Like they might be getting famous, they might be getting a lot of clout from that, but that doesn't make them better than anybody else. They're spreading misinformation.
They never were. As anarchists, we know the truth is you never were.
Yeah.
You never were. You aren't. You will never be. It's like someone before I told you said that, because of how I do certain things and behaviors, that someone might want to make a cult out of my thinking, like say if I died or whatever. And I said, well, then I need to make sure, like I told you before, I need to make sure that then everyone understands how I see things.
Yeah.
So I need to be very extremely clear, not like Marx or whatever that didn't finish all this stuff or any other fucking writer. I need to say everything I need to say now because now is the only moment I have. Just like I told you, everyone's so impressed with the wise. And I go, yeah, see, you do lack wisdom. The wisest thing that I have ever done was choose a life of kindness, not something I figured out, not something I, found from research. The life of kindness is the shining example that I am so happy that I did, not everything else. Everything else is just extra because to me, to be a good person is a value beyond measure. It's like a light. It lightens everyone around you. I mean, it's just absolutely fucking wonderful to me. So to me, as I said, but that goes back to wisdom. You see, the unwise people think, oh, it's the IQ that matters. Well, my IQ is 135, which is the lowest of the geniuses. But I don't even think that that's why I'm intelligent the way I am.
Right.
I think I also am highly creative. I'm so fucking creative. There's not been a moment of my life that I was awake that I practically don't want to do something creative. I'm just so massively creative. And I know that with the real high intelligence and then a moral attitude. Because see, before the moral attitude changed, I did almost nothing. I was a terrible person. I was a fucking, piece of shit. I mean, I wouldn't have been proud to have been my friend. Especially now. Fuck, I actually wouldn't be my friend now. I'm like, you are a piece of shit. Because I used to be a rightist, right? I used to be a theist. I used to think gay was a sin and wrong and, equal to dog fucking. I mean, I was not a good, I was serious. I've changed so much, but it wasn't like some people, it's gradual. For me, because it was axiology, it was immediate.
Yeah.
Once I realized God was not true, then the morality I lived my entire life was fucking a lie, and I needed to figure out what was real morality.
Right.
And the same thing, though, with like archaeology. What is a real fact? Do you see how much fucking bullshit is out there? Holy shit. I know you probably haven't looked that much, but wow, my God. There is infinite amount of absolute horseshit out there. Pseudo-archaeology, pseudo-history. It's like that's and millions of views. Like, what?
Yeah, you look at like you say, Graham Hancock, which we discussed quite a bit on your channel.
Yeah.
He's very rich. he's doing quite well for himself. He's got a show on Netflix with now 2 seasons, and so there's a huge industry of pseudo archaeology, like people who just promote the wrong information.
Well, and then like I told you, people think like me before too. I thought, oh well, because I was actually quite ignorant till his first video series. Really, I was pretty ignorant about Graham Hancock. All I knew is someone said I do stuff kind of like him, and I'm like, who is this? Graham Hancock. I looked it up. So I looked it up. It says almost the first line under his bio was pseudo-archaeology. I'm like, whoa, fuck that. I go, no, he's not like me. Fuck no. I only do facts. Shit, my shit's so good. That's why, like I said, academics are wanting to use it in articles.
Right.
or go do research about my Eichmann speculations because they're that good, Graham Hancock, not like your bullshit. Where almost every academic in the entire fucking world attacks the living shit out of you.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we've got a couple people in the chat. Some random geek is here on Twitch and on YouTube, and then Nilo Nostrum. Nilo Nostrum is here on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. What is Nilo Nostrum says? I would love to see a conversation between Damien and John Sanderson, the Canadian commie.
Right on. I don't know who that is, but sure.
Someday, maybe.
Yeah. Well, just people know, even though I have not read Marx and all that, it doesn't mean that I somehow don't understand capitalism or don't understand.
Right.
I just break it down in my own axiological way, and it comes out as immoral. I mean, my book would be all about how immoral capitalism is. It would more than like how it's economically not feasible or self-destructive, or that it has accumulation problems, and it also has, always needs a set of worker slaves to somehow, subjugate to actually get profits. It's like there's a limited. It's like having a limited 100 things. It's a limited number of things. So somebody's got to get the limited number for there to be billions. It's just almost that simple in a sense. Axiologically, to me, you have a few things, and if you just take some, for the rich, and then what's left is nothing for everybody else. I mean, the rich what I'm saying is the rich get rich because they fucking steal.
Yeah, for sure.
Why capitalism will never go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Nilo Nostrum says he is a theistic commie. It would be cool to see a dialectic on religion. Or
yeah. I've actually converted people that before their thinking before even leaving me. Within a half an hour of talking to me, I have. Not that, like I said, I always try to, but unlike other people that say, well, I never try to convert people. Oh, bullshit. Me? I absolutely try to convert people. What? Just think about this for 1 second as an axiologist. I care about the highest value. Your freedom would have a high value. Why the fuck would I not want to help you reach your freedom? Yeah. In fact, what kind of an immoral person would I be to not help you reach your freedom? You know what I'm saying? What the? No.
I guess though, we maybe should switch gears here a little bit. So we were gonna talk about so we've done a few videos now on mounds, kurgans, dolmens, and pyramids.
Correct. We did 5 videos that are directly related to that. Each one.
And so I guess the first question I wanted to ask is like, what are these various things, and like what is a quick kind of like the differences between them?
Okay, so to first off, to me, in a sense, just so I can get anything that's a mound shape, mountain shape, round shape, hill shape, mound, it could be a dirt mound, shell mound, pyramid, a dolmen, which is also, round in a sense, or it can be, at least raised into something and often covered with dirt. And it's not, or you can do it in all rocks or do it in all bricks. It's not really, to me, the medium.
Okay.
I think that to me personally, when other people that unlike me, how I see the whole big picture, when they look at all these things, they're like, oh, well, that's with, bricks and that's with dirt. And I'm like, yeah, they're both actually not that far from the same thing. In fact, when you learn bigger, they also have very connected, related, in a sense, mythology, something to do with the mound of creation, or like the earth diver myth that has often it has a turtle that, dirt is made into a mound. The Egyptians have it. Sumerians have it. I mean, Hindus have it. Anyways, so the fact that all these things, right, I see them as all connected because they're all have really shared ideas. And then the DNA, I can track what it's doing. Now, it is totally incorrect when people think, like Graham Hancock, one civilization went all around. As we talked about before.
Yeah.
There's our DNA of R1, which R1b especially, and then also R2, A, came in and did stuff, but more with the language. But so to me, I understand that all these things, like in the Americas, it's Q and C that do all this stuff in a sense or relate to it. Also X, which is a female DNA. and maybe even N female. But anyways, so these different people, though, are actually, because they're going to Siberia, and all these things are coming out from Siberia to different ways. Some's going to the Middle East, some's going to Europe, some's going to China, some's going to the Americas. But it's all, and then so all kind of coming back to the area too.
Right.
But so all these things, like I said, to me are just mounds. And all mounds, when I look at them, I always see the same thing, that it is hierarchy. That these things are structures for a few, for an elite, for a leader, a king, a warrior, or whatever. These are elite. And obviously not all warriors don't get a curvy sense or a thing. So that's to me. And some of them are burial, and some of them relate to temples. But like I said, whether they're burial or temple, they both actually relate to mounds or mountains or axis mundi, which is like center of the world, or cosmic axis that goes, in a sense, up space. In fact, just like recently, right, there was a hunter's moon. Right below the hunter's moon was the Venus, which they consider the morning star.
Okay.
So, and it was in what do they call that? Like a line or something, straight line of the moon. And that would be considered an axis mundi. And the fact that it happens very rarely and then it disappears, right? Like the next day or whatever, it's gone. So anyways, but this thinking is the same, that the mound is connecting to that somehow. And so that's why, like, say if a person is buried, just like I try to say, burial to me is all sky burial, really. It's all, because tell me how many people believe they stay in the dirt. It doesn't matter if the body gets put there. Do you actually think that their spirit stays there? Most people do not. Most people think their spirit goes to heaven or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all have the same innocent sky, daddy and mommy beliefs.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking, like, I've read on other sources. Oh my God, my children are screaming in the background.
Yeah. Hey, you know what though? Hold on a second. You know what though? That's the thing I think that we need to add though in real life is like let's say that, like you just said that about the kid. I think that's how history has to be. We can't forget the other noise.
Yeah, it's there, right?
Like Corey, we forget. Well, Corey's not like an individual by himself, and so we have to see. That's what I'm trying to say to people. Stop looking at Corey and going, well, then he's a single individual, and there's no one connected to him, or whatever, and only lives in a box because that's all I can see.
Yeah, it's just his one room.
Well, you get what I'm trying to say is that instead of like grasping that, well, actually, you need to kind of think a little bit bigger than that. How does it relate to other stuff?
Yeah.
And so this, like I show that, what happens too, like say pyramids all over the world is everything starts in a sense that the first thing to me is mountain beliefs in a sense. Mountain beliefs then in the Middle East, it goes from Siberia to the Middle East. There's not really mountains as much. So they basically make the turtle belief, I think, because 17,000 years ago, the turtle belief with X DNA goes all the way to Americas, goes all the way to Germany. They both bury turtles. Some goes to China, North China, turtles. So anyways, but I'm saying that, as you know, that's how I figure out what things are doing is not because I do Graham Hancock. I go, well, I just think it's this, And then, well, how do you know that? Well, I don't know. And where is that culture exactly? Well, just for me, it's axiology. Just listening to him explain. I've listened to some separate video just to get people to understand like how I don't do that. Oh, fucking A. But he goes, so I think that my culture, the one he says is the advanced culture that fucking taught everybody, right? He goes, I think my advanced culture, I used to think that it was somewhere else, but now I think maybe the Americas or maybe South or our Antarctica or maybe Polynesia or Indonesia. I'm like, what the fuck?
How many choices are you given on this?
How does somebody listen to that and go, oh yeah, that's the dude to listen to? Fuck yeah.
Right. I was going to ask you because you mentioned that when you see like these mounds and various structures, it points you to the idea of hierarchy.
Right. Yes.
So I've read in other sources that like Göbekli Tepe is viewed by some as like the first communal kind of structure that was built, and I'm curious what your take is on that.
Okay. Do I think it's the first communal structure built? Probably not.
Okay.
So no. Do I think it
So first off,
might have
no.
like first no, because I think they probably started doing communal structures at 20,000, or
Okay.
maybe a little before that, and maybe some. Cause the reason I bring this up is there are some up in Russia, Siberia, Ukraine. There's maybe Czechoslovakia too. Anyways, but there's like Central Europe, where. But long time ago, like the oldest one I think is 44,000. They're mammoth bone, like igloo almost kind of things.
Okay.
And they seem to be ritualistic. They're not, and I'm talking about with the Neanderthals at 44,000. Just going back to, yes, is it the oldest?
Right.
So I'm good. Well, if you're asking me what I think personally, I would say maybe even 170,000, 175, because there's rings in France, I believe. Anyways, I remember they're known by Neanderthals. I think they're in France. Could have been in Spain. But anyways, they're in a cave, and there are these rings, and they're 174, 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And they're almost like temple meeting areas or something. I don't know.
Okay.
They've taken stalactites and like made a sacred circle.
Oh, neat. So that's like they did that for like almost a religious purpose.
I don't know, obviously, exactly, but I assume. Well, I mean, I'm just being, me, Corey. If I really feel confident, that's why people don't grasp. Like when I speculate as an axiologist, I have varied degrees. It's not all or nothing.
Yeah.
So in some stuff, I feel like hell fucking yes, and stuff like
maybe, sort of, kind of, maybe a little bit.
So I think my gut feeling is yes. I think they had something religious.
Yeah.
What exactly it was, I'm not sure. Sometimes I say I'm not sure if they had totemism or pre-animism or animism. I'm not. When it comes to Neanderthals,
it's hard to say, right?
Well, because it looks like they might be doing all of the above, or
right.
And they may be even, just like you see, at 130,000, excuse me, not 30,000, 130,000, and I think it's Croatia. They have a Neanderthal burial. And at 130,000, also they find a necklace of eagle talons, or maybe it's some other animal, but I think it's eagle talons. But anyways, but they're like bird claws, and so a necklace. So they're at 130,000. So this is like, but I also think that's religious because they also use blackbird feathers. They also used black dye or black stuff for their things. Right. Themes, more than just using, say, red ochre, which they also used, including in burial contexts, which is something that humans also did. And humans started doing that when they met the Neanderthals in the Middle East about 100,000, 120,000 years ago. Humans, I don't know if it's copy or were inspired to do their own, but they also have tools that are similar, mountain steering tools that were Neanderthal, and humans start doing it. Similar tool, which also, that I told you before, experimental archaeology is also figured out that takes like days at least to learn. You couldn't just like see someone do it and then copy. No fucking way.
Right.
So it just shows once again that they're interacting. Anyways, going back to your question of Göbekli Tepe. So Göbekli Tepe to me probably starts religious before Göbekli Tepe is actually built. So you ask in my opinion, 13,000, there's already people showing up on that plateau, making some sort of a sacred, maybe circle or whatever, before any fucking stone. So before any stone ever, I think there was already a meeting place and already a religious connotation. I think the stones are just an expression of what we felt was already occurring.
Some random geek says, a necklace made of bird talons is metal as hell.
Oh, fuck, hell yes. Well, and then wearing black, crow feathers or whatever they were, I think that's also cool as shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So Neanderthals are way more amazing, I think, than we give them credit for.
For sure.
So, and even the Desovians or Decentivans, by the way, people, when it comes to like explaining names, I fucking suck. I mean, terrible. but like understanding what's going on, I have a very high, ability.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Soviets or whatever in the Soviet cave in Siberia, they actually had headbands that I think were related to hierarchy and power, which could have been related to a clan and ideas. And so I'm not totally sure that totemism wasn't in Neanderthals and Desovians before humans, because humans get about 50,000, kind of when they met the Neanderthals.
Okay.
Met the Desovians over in Asia. So they met two people. And by the way, Desovians and Neanderthals also had met. So I think maybe Neanderthal who had this stuff first, because it's like nothing happens from almost nothing at all from the Desovians. And all of a sudden, almost after they meet Neanderthals, lots of stuff.
Ah, interesting.
So I'm thinking, like humans, it's not a crazy idea, especially they mated and had a child, Neanderthals and Desovians. It's not crazy. And those ones came, I think, from Croatia where they made the first burial, all the way to Siberia. So they already are doing ritualistic behaviors and show up and then, of course, keep doing them. And then other people start doing these new kind of, totemistic or looking behaviors to me. And so people understand totemism. Totemism is not building totem poles. That stuff, I don't know exactly when it started. I'm personally thinking it started in long figurines, which I told you I think is about 22,000 or something, or 24. No, maybe 25. No, 25. 25,000. It starts in Russia, goes to Siberia by 24, keeps doing long figurines. I'm thinking, and then that DNA goes to Sinclair, I think it is, Idol or whatever it is. And that, because our DNA, R1A goes there, and that's where, and then R1A by 12,300 goes into the Middle East, and at 12,200 is like Korkatepe, where all of a sudden this new, totally drastic culture changed. It's so much more advanced, like Graham Hancock talks about advanced, because it went from not that much to a lot more complexity. In fact, they have hierarchy. Pretty damn sure, because they have mace heads, which in slavery is about 12,000. So and everything I just logical. They have these stones that they literally have ground into bowls you could sell in a market today, right? And they have 100 of them. And just logical. You're like, okay, so there's how many people there? There's not that many, and they're making these it is the Stone Age, right?
Right.
12,000 something years ago or whatever, and it's still Neolithic. And it's pre-pottery, in that area. So, and they're carving these stones. I'm like, it's so fine, so thin, stone.
Right.
And I'm like, that's authority. It is only someone forcing me, unless one person has some sort of compulsion, like OCD or something, has to be perfect, But the likelihood, when you look at that, I know that's a sign of force. Someone said it has to be this way, or else.
That's interesting.
And then, of course, that exact place that I thought has to be, force, has the first sign of force. So I personally think that I'm not sure who brought it. Maybe the 12,300 people brought it, the R1A. Maybe R1B was already evolving into that, because R1B had been in the Middle East for 22,000 years. So R1A only is there from 12,300, so they show up later. And then R2A shows up about 10,000, maybe 300, whatever, something. It shows up. So like I said, and I'll bring in different ideas. Everything changes almost every time that these people are moving around. Things start changing. Right. So it's hard sometimes to see what in climate also has an effect of why they're changing. For sure. It's not just new people; it's the climate. But
I was just going to say, so how does that relate to the rise of agriculture and because I know we've kind of talked a bit about agriculture and hierarchy kind of going pretty close hand in hand. So where are those kind of
so here's my thought on that generally, just kind of similar to what anthropologists kind of say. I believe that when we allow a system of surplus labor that is not immediately distributed to the community, socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
You get hierarchy.
Right.
And that means only some people get food, or only some people get the most food, or it's only some people get the best parts. This will always bother. Just like everyone grasps. If I bring in a pizza and there's a whole bunch of us and I give only to one and another and they just walked out with the pizza, people would be justifiably upset, right? But when we do this in capitalism, we're like, people will fucking go down in flames and support it, and this is the best system. Like,
I didn't deserve pizza.
And my thought is every time that somebody tells me that capitalism is the best system, I'm like, so you think the best system is the thing that will literally burn the fucking human earth to a crisp is the best system to keep going, then all you're saying is we're all going to fucking die.
Yeah.
That's all you're fucking saying. And you don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all I hear is we're all going to die. And so I don't give a fuck. I'm like, your way, we all are going to fucking die. If we do not, to me, it's not, like I said, going back to morality, it's not even a choice, Corey. Any ethical person to me must be against capitalism. Whether you have any solution, who gives a fuck? A moral person should be against immoral things. Capitalism is immoral. I don't have to offer anything. It is immoral on its own. Is rape bad because there's some people that don't rape? Or is rape just bad even if everyone raped?
It's just bad.
Axiologically, it's fucking simple, right? So that's why people don't like to talk morality with me, because to me, axiologically, it's so fucking simple. It's all fucking simple. The problem is people are immoral as fuck. In other words, they like violating the rights of others with impunity and feel they're moral.
Nihilo Nostrum says it's like saying death is the best form of life.
Exactly. It's literally ludicrous. To me, as an axiologist, it's like I think you asked me before when we first started talking about axiology. You had asked me, well, are other axiologists also socialists or anarchists? And I'm like, dude, most of us are progressive, socialists, anarchists. I mean, more than the general public, because it's really hard, Corey, when you see value and then just go, well, I'm not going to look there. Yeah, we know, okay, that's a moral choice. Thus, our valuing is inaccurate, and we know it. And how bad.
Some random geek also said, capitalism will never go away, as one liberal says to me.
And see, goes back to my moral stuff. But you know it should.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we can. Doesn't mean that we will. I'm not referring to that. But you know that this is not the way to go. So you get what I'm saying? I want a world where we all at least start at honest. Capitalism is fucking killing the earth. It cannot continue. The fact that we may continue is pretty fucked. Just like how fucked it is that we chose Donald Trump, the fucking fascist. Now, I was never like some big supporter of wanting to have any, Democrat or Republican involved in any part of anything. Just so you know.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're going to ask me, would I rather be punched or shot in the head? Punched?
Yeah, I guess I'll take the punch.
But anyways, I'm just saying. So, so I also, because I told you before, even though I voted for her, it's because I didn't want Monster Trump, not because I thought that, she's going to be great. Because I like how she gave the message. We're going to do hope for the future. What's the hope she had? A little more, everything's the same. I'm like, how is that hope? Seriously, how the logical mind would you go, yeah, that's fucking hope, man. Nothing's going to change. Because she said, right? Going back to what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
About thinking in general. She says, if you're an honest thinker, she said nothing will change.
Yeah, that's right.
And then says hope for the future. Okay, those two things cannot go together. This system is fucked. What do you mean nothing is going to change? How? No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people are suffering. If you tell them nothing's going to change, that's not going to motivate them.
That's not a winning message. I'm fucking sorry.
That's right.
If you think that nothing's going to change and everyone's suffering, it's just like, to me, it's once again, axiologically, it's dishonest, right? For somebody to say it's bad for some children to be hurt. You ever seen once in a while she'll do something where she almost cries? She does a really good job. But then they'll say, hey, can the people for Palestine speak at the Democratic Convention? They're like, fuck no.
Yeah,
no. Not only will she not do anything, she won't even let him have a voice. I said, it doesn't surprise me, though. That's like when Trump won. I said, I'm not surprised. And there are people, everyone's blaming everything. And I'm like, yeah, see, I know it's the same thing. It's always been. It's class struggle, and it's racism, it's sexism, it's homophobia, it's bigotry. Yeah. Bigotry fucking won.
And it is like you said, like it is class struggle. Like the rich won.
Yeah, well, fuck yeah. They won in a grotesque way that is worse than before.
Yeah.
Holy fucking shit, it's grotesquer than fuck.
The rich would have won the other way too, but
Yeah, they were still winning, but yeah, that's why I say that, Democrats, I try not to be super hard on them because I know they have some mild ethics that I can agree with. The rest of it's
Sure,
horseshit, but there's a
sure.
little bit. But the Republicans, there's just literally nothing. And
Yeah.
then
I uh I guess sort of related. I got into a bit of an argument on Twitter the other day about whether or not Donald Trump is fascist. And
oh, you won because he is.
well, yeah, I didn't really. I
He
my
is
thing
Hitler's
was like
fascist.
one of the replies I said like that I'm letting off the system easy by claiming that he's a fascist and that his movement is fascist, and I don't think that that's accurate. Like the U.S. democracy as it stands needs to be torn down. It's a problem.
Well, it's a
Like
semi-democracy.
it's not a
It's
real
a fucking
democracy
joke,
even.
right?
So
It's a literal fucking joke. It's not a
so I'm not letting
democracy.
it off easy, but there's like this fake version of democracy or there's fascism. Like it's
Well,
not.
going back to like I said, if you tell me that these are my only options, well, then I'm limited
Yeah,
because I
that's right.
literally do not want it to be fucking worse. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's right.
And so, like I said, I never thought it was good, but I don't know. How about fucking worse? What the?
Yeah,
Come on, not worse. But it surprised me because I think that people don't get how fucking racist people are. People, I mean, look at Donald Trump is not even in. Ohio already has people marching with Nazi fucking flags.
yeah,
You
that's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
all of your stuff, your thinking and your behaviors matter. As an axiologist, I mean, of course, that is so fucking self-evident. What you do and say matters. So
Yeah,
that's also why I try to help teach people, history and since even though I share an anarchist perspective, it's not like it's some colored glasses that blinds me. It's like I told you before. It is an unawareness that other people have fucking dignity, that other people have rights, and I don't own them,
yeah, yeah.
nor do they own me. People
Right.
always think that like I've heard people a freedom fighter. Well, I don't really fight for freedom. I feel like freedom is my natural fucking state. What I fight against is oppression, which is an attack to my freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I fucking fight.
Nihilo Nostrum said, "Human beings are snookered by the lesser of two evils dilemmas." Yeah, yeah. When you're only given those two options, it's you're really screwed, right?
Well, but this is to me the sad thing, and which I want to change. We need to know why Democrats are doing, in a sense, what is not moral, which is, in a sense, like he said, evil. Because I think that the problem is I see some communists or even some anarchists, and this is not me, of course, but some anarchists and some communists constantly attack, say, liberals or whatever. My goal is to make them not liberals, make them truly fucking, rational thinkers that desire deep morality, thus anarchists or socialists. My goal is to show them the beauty of anarchism. Because I feel like sometimes people act like it's a bomb, like it's a, Molotov cocktail to society and society is going to burn. The parts of society I would like to see burn are oppression, our hierarchy, our bigotry, our classism, in all kinds of way. The fact that all that stuff, it needs to be addressed. And it's not the choice for me. It's not like I go, well, today I think I'd like to care. Get my point?
Yep.
When you care, how the fuck can you not do something about it?
Yeah. I think me and Justin have talked about this too, is like maybe it's in a pregame or a bonus content at some point, but how maybe as frustrating as it can be to deal with liberals, maybe we can be a little easier on them in some ways because we have a better chance of convincing a liberal to be not a liberal than we have of a conservative or a fascist becoming what we are.
And what I try to do, Corey, is I try to show them they don't have to lose liberal values they think are valuable.
Right.
Like, say, caring about human rights, caring about
like
children.
freedom of speech.
Right, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What we show is, no, we're not actually telling you, we're telling you to advance your liberalism.
Yeah.
To not include the right. The conservative bullshit, like, I don't know, capitalism is good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, because that is kind of it. Like, yeah, they like liberal values. A lot of liberal values are still very useful. That is part of the Enlightenment philosophy that Marxism came out of, that much of anarchism came out of. That's part of it. I mean, I know obviously there's postmodern stuff as well and modernist stuff as well, but like the Enlightenment values, that's like liberal values is a fundamental part of all of our kind of like left philosophy. Many of them, anyway.
Right. And all I ask people to is use all that and look at history. So it's not a Marxist approach in a sense, but it is an axiological value approach. Look at history the way you would look at now.
Yeah.
How can you look at now and see Donald Trump's Trump Tower and go, oh, that's a good thing? How can you look back at a pyramid, at a mound, at a fucking Kurgan and go, oh, look, elites got everything while the poor got dog shit?
Yeah, that's right.
Wonderful.
And let's see, Vulcan 999 is hopped in. My challenge is establishing a baseline understanding of how things in the world works with people without giving them a 10-hour essay, because most people won't stick around to hear it. That's true. Yeah, it is a challenge for sure.
Well, and this is what I say. That, the beauty of anarchism is that I don't require me. See, that's the beauty of anarchism. Anarchism has Corey. Anarchism has that person that just made a comment. Anarchism has all. See, I don't have to do it all myself.
Yeah.
As an anarchist, in fact, I know I need others. I value them as they should value me. Yeah. I should work for their needs as much as they work for mine. Our thing is a symbiosis. Anarchism grasps there is both an individual and a group existing at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not either or.
That's right. That's why I often reject like the communist rejection of anarchism, because in the name of collectivism, because I feel like the two are like in synthesis, I guess, like the individual and the collective are one.
The only thing I see different between me and people that call themselves communists is they value authoritarians. That's pretty much a lot of it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as you talk about hierarchy is good, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fuck hierarchy. Hierarchy is fucking dog shit. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The only kind of hierarchy I accept is a hierarchy of values. And the hierarchy of values is not decided as in somehow Corey is the greatest, nothing else fucking matters. No, hierarchy of values, so you can break it down real quick. In my scheming, is it starts with you. And then it has to do with how morality goes out in the world and becomes other morality. So the you morality is called morals. And the other morality is called ethics. Mm-hmm. That's why there's business ethics. And sometimes the business will have a moral that it wants to supposedly live by, that we care about the customer. But so morals is how you live your thing. So, but values is what gives all those meaning.
Yeah.
Without value, I tell people, change your values, change your life. When I became an atheist, or when I became, in a sense, realizing that I wasn't going to be a far rightist and, leftist, anarchist, socialist was the way to go. I didn't know those words, by the way. I just knew that people matter. Like, no, I'm not okay with this hell of capitalism where fucking people have to live the harsh life of the street and then we do nothing and we call ourselves civilized. Are you fucking kidding me? This is horrid. Anyway, so I'm just saying is that it's looking at, that's how I do everything in a sense. There is no different. Like, that's why people are irritated. Why do you call yourself an axiological atheist? I said, because once you understand that, you understand why I think of everything.
Yeah, for sure. So Nilo Nostrum says, I think anarcho-communism is good, but then there are anarchists that dislike communists and the communists that don't like anarchists.
Right, and I think that all anarchists should like communists and all communists should like anarchists. And I think the biggest problem for me, like I already said, is if you worship a person and think that that person should have the right to tell people to fucking die, that's a problem for me. If your goal is like mine, to liberate humanity so they can have human flourishing, then we are on the fucking same page, no matter what you're calling yourself.
Yeah, philosophically, they are the same thing.
Well, I feel like philosophically, exactly. Put it this way, to me, all communist societies, the ultimate goal, as you want to say it, for people that are, in a sense, Marxist-Leninists, the ultimate goal of communism, the communist society, our ultimate goal, is in a sense stateless,
Yeah.
moneyless,
Yeah.
classless. That's why when people say there's communism society now, I'm like, no, there is not. There's state capitalism or some other management that's not actually communism.
Yeah. Some random geek said, quote, there will always be hierarchies, as one liberal yelled at me and other liberals have echoed that.
Well,
I've
I
seen
think that's
that quite a bit.
ludicrous because hierarchy is not a state of human, in a sense, interaction. It's a
Right.
forced thing. I told you, I know freaking prehistory. 300, 200, whatever, like we talked about before. 100,000 even, right, is what I think that 100,000 years ago in South Africa, they invent, in a sense, or they start doing, maybe learned from the Neanderthals, I don't know, but they start doing animism. In a sense, this looking at the world magically, which really children do until 7. It's just adults started not stopping that. So it's a natural kind of thing. So when people say, well, religion is natural, well, animism is kind of natural. Religion is fucking stories. No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's in many, I guess, hunter-gatherer societies or what have you, they might have appointed a leader for one time or another, but they had much different ways of dealing with them.
Right, but instead of, right, but just like I've shown you, instead of having to guess, I don't have to guess, right? We could guess, but I don't have to guess. We know animist-only societies in Africa. There's at least 4 or 5 of them, and I've showed you before. Every single one of them are anarchist socialists. Dude, they're so awesome, you think they're progressive, and people would call them backwards, you know? These people believe that children have rights. How many cultures do that? These people believe that women have rights. Rape is almost unheard of. There's no real documentation. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. So they also smoke a lot of pot, which I'm down for that.
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
my point is, so and like I told you, one like the Hadza, right? People in South Africa, they actually have this thing with family. It's not actually just them. There's a couple, I think Americas has a couple, or somewhere else too, maybe Siberia, where they have descent of your children from the mother and the father at the same time. That every Hadza is connected to every Hadza. That's how it fucking should be. What the fuck? Once I heard that, because like, should be female or male, and I'm like, that's the way. That's it right there. And look, at these people are primitive and they're hunter-gatherers and they don't even have clothes almost. I mean, sometimes. But my point is, what society now would morally think, well, we're so great, you know, the epitome of world, right, Corey, is capitalist, you know, New York or something. I'm looking at fucking Hadza, you know, hunter-gatherers going, man, that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, because I'm looking at value. I'm supposed to think that these fucking hedge fund managers in fucking New York or fucking, you know, the NASDAQ or stock exchange dickheads, that's the epitome of fucking society? Or is it these people that you think are hunter-gatherers that actually believe women have rights, children have rights, elderly have rights, everybody gets food, everybody gets housing, everybody works together as a unit? What the fuck? They have no political association, no leaders, no anything. Women can hunt if they want.
Yeah.
The one guy goes, well, it doesn't seem like much women hunt. And then this one woman comes up and shoots an arrow. And I'm thinking, you didn't ask someone before you asked that question, did you?
You just said it out loud without actually thinking about it.
You just started with bigotry because you were, uneducated. Actually, they don't have that bullshit that we think is normal. And it is not normal. That's why I always laugh when they go, so this is a sad thing. Not, by the way, I don't think all Democrats did this or will do this or have done this. But I did see where some are saying maybe we shouldn't support trans rights. Or some say maybe abortion, maybe we should drop that as a subject. See? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You just keep showing me why not to like you. I want to be okay with you, but you keep making it harder.
Yeah. I've seen a number of Democrats who have thrown indigenous people under the bus.
Or indigenous people, whatever. You get my, exactly.
They've thrown Latino people under the bus. Like, you're just
I posted a thing about Latino people, right? That they're going to be possibly deported, and they'll say, well, I voted for Trump. But that wasn't, as one guy goes, oh, you're being a dick. No, I fucking think it's sad as fuck. And I really do think 100% it's happening. This motherfucker, and he goes, well, how could they get deported if they're thing? And I said, did you not hear when Trump in front of everyone. I know, I was on TV, I saw it. In front of everyone, say, I'm going to remove the citizenships of the Haitians. You know, the ones that are here legally.
Yeah, that's right.
Meaning he's going to naturalize them.
Yep.
So, and then he said also, he believes, right? Because once again, remember, this is fascism. He doesn't follow some law or some actual reason. He just looks at it and goes, I don't like them. They're gone. So, so I'm just saying, he already, by the way, it's not like he has to invent a new law. I can't remember what it is. Amendment 424, I can't remember now. But there's some amendment for denaturalization. There's already on Congress has to do it, I think. But Congress is sold down the river to Trump. Do you really think that anyone in Congress, oh no, Trump? They literally like just bow down and go, where should I kiss?
Yeah, it's, yeah. I know he was arguing that when he was elected, he was saying that he would remove birthright citizenship as well.
See what I'm saying? Me saying that he's going to be a terror. I wasn't saying it as like the one guy thought I was laughing. I'm not laughing, dude. This is horror. I'm fucking horrified. And then I look at these people and I go, how could you not have known this? It's horrifying. It's horrifying for me. I'm like looking at it going, I don't get it. Do you not see it? You're going to be fucking hating life. But I wasn't saying it's not fucking funny to me at all.
Velka999 asked, did you guys see the Maori haka that was done in New Zealand's parliament? It was pretty dope. I did see that. That was pretty awesome.
Did. And like I told you, we're actually going to do a thing that talks about the indigenous people of Polynesia, the indigenous people of Melanesia, the indigenous people of New Zealand, the indigenous people of Australia. Because I feel like not enough is talked about those things. Speaking of which, that's what I was trying to tell you too, like with when people look at like say pyramid stuff, they always think of just Egypt. I already showed you. Well, there's pyramids in Mexico that are actually older than Egypt. Why do we always just point to Egypt? Why don't we say, well, Egyptian pyramids are kind of like South America, or Peru, not South America. They're kind of like Peru. Why don't we say that? Because those are a little older. Or why don't we say it's kind of like the mounds in China that are pyramid shaped? Because those are certainly older too. And then if we're going to do that, might as well say, why don't we say the Kurgans, since they're 7,000 to, whatever, and the pyramids are only 4,000. Or even say the ziggurats, because of course those are also at 6,000, the beginning of it in a sense. So, yeah, it's just, you get my point. I don't get why this always go, oh, what about the pyramids in Egypt? And I'm thinking, okay, well, they're
the newest ones.
Yeah, they're the youngest. Is that what you're trying to make a point about? Like,
yeah, that's right.
Not saying that. Also, as you know, do not agree that they somehow were given ideas and the whole fucking pyramid just came up. Like, no. So they got mound beliefs. Before that, they made these little long like mound things, and they made a little mound inside that was the mound of creation. The whole thing actually relates to the mound of creation idea, and then it has a little mound of creation symbolism inside. Then they make big one, or stacks of these madrasa things, and then that becomes a step pyramid in a sense. Which, like I told you, the first step pyramid, when they go, well, that's evidence of advanced creation has to be aliens. Like, yeah, there's like two different pyramids inside each other.
Yeah, and this took a long time before it was done.
And then like 2 or 3 versions of the madrasas older inside of that. Yeah. So it literally looks like a some sort of Lego thing that some kid put together more than it looks like some advanced culture.
Right. Yeah. You'd think if it was aliens came down, it would just be like, bang, it was perfect unit, but it absolutely was never.
It literally isn't. It's so obviously, and then of course it's in stages. It wasn't all at one time. It was it's so obviously human created and so obviously not by people that knew everything. Like I said, I do think at 6,000 they got ideas kind of for it because of mythology. But the actual sort of building of it, like Russian nesting dolls. Yeah. Exactly. So, and the later ones didn't have that because, they started learning. Not because, no. That's like people's opinion, too. That people are like, oh, the oldest pyramid are those, like pointed pyramid shape. I'm like, no, they're not. The oldest pyramids were step pyramids.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. So I guess we're over an hour now, though. Okay. Is there, I guess, anything we want to touch on before we go?
Okay, I would say that, people can trust archaeology because I feel like I want to say this really quick before I end. I trust archaeologists. You know why? I have looked myself.
Right.
Not because I believe them. It's because I individually of them looked at all this shit, and then I hear them say stuff that matches the shit that I know is accurate. So that's why I believe them. Like someone said before, I just, worship the archaeologist. Fuck no, I don't worship anybody.
I
will acknowledge when someone does a good job. Like I'm not, saying that I'm the only great thinker in the world. There's tons of great thinkers. Actually, that's the opposite of what I would say. I would say I am so happy to be one of the thinkers of the world because we all matter, not just intelligent ones, all of us. I've heard some most profounding stuff by people that thought they weren't intelligent.
Right.
But I hear they're caring. I hear that wisdom of humanity. I learn.
Yeah, that's right. I also find it very interesting that like archaeologists don't expect you to just believe them usually.
Oh, no, they're not even usually unhappy if you don't believe them, which I think is commendable also.
Yeah, they provide information and they'll show you where they got that information and how they got that information. So,
yeah, if you guys ever feel like you don't know something, don't ever be afraid to talk to most archaeologists. They're really great people. Yeah. Tons of them believe in trans rights. Tons of them believe in women's rights. Tons of them believe in gay rights. I mean, yeah, you're not
generally
a
pretty progressive group. Yeah, that's right. All right, so I guess the only thing left is where can people find you, Damien?
Well, you can do my name, Damien Marie AtHope, because my website is damienmarieathope.com. But if you put in a Google search Damien Marie AtHope, you'll probably also see the link to my academic edu, and I have maybe 80 posts on there. I don't know, but I have like I'm at 0.1% of all the people on there because of like the quality of my stuff. Like some people could have even more views, but it's the quality of my interaction in a sense.
Right on.
Yeah, go check it out. And also, like Corey said, we have 5 videos. Go look at all of them. And I explained a bunch of stuff, but also don't just stay the videos. If you really want to understand, read the blogs. The blogs are like 300, 400 pages, like a little book. But if you read the whole thing, you will literally understand. So it's just, if you want to understand, read the stuff. You will understand. In fact, I'm giving Corey a blog that goes for this video he can give out that explains all of it, like all the different mounds and stuff and all my thoughts on it.
Right on. Well, thank you, Damien, for joining me tonight. And thank you, everybody who is in the chat and who viewed, even if they didn't comment. I really appreciate everybody who's here.
Yes, I appreciate everybody, showing up and listening. I hope that you enjoyed it.
All right, folks, that's all for now. Thanks for watching or listening. Remember to share this show with your friends or on the social media site that you use the most. Thank you to everyone who supports this show on Patreon. I really appreciate it, and it helps me keep the power on. Thanks to my top patrons, Damien Marie AtHope, Some Random Geek, Justin Clark, Dan F. Smith, and Lisa Glass. And thank you to my new patrons. You can stay tuned for the list of patrons at the end to see your name listed. If you aren't a patron and want to contribute, you can do that at patreon.com/skepticalleftist, or you can send a one-time donation to buymeacoffee.com/skepticallefty. I also have a Substack where you can subscribe for free or you can donate per month. And lastly, you can get a paid subscription on Spotify that will give you the same access to bonus content and extra long episodes. If you can't contribute financially, then a like on YouTube or a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or one of the podcast review sites like Podchaser would be great. If you want to find more from me, then make sure to check out the show notes for links to all my stuff, or check out my link tree. It's linktr.ee/skepticalleftist. That's where you can find all of my social media spaces and communities. You can also email me at mindofaskepticalleftist@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening or watching. Make sure to leave a comment on the video, join your local org, print off some posters or pamphlets, and spread the propaganda.